Hello, thanks for taking the time to listen to us today. We formed Predictive Manufacturing Group because we are passionate about bringing the power of big data and the Internet of Things to small and medium sized companies, and frankly, because we wanted to have the opportunity to work for ourselves. Now, the broad concept of hooking up any sensor to the Internet is referred to as the Internet of Things, or IoT. IoT sensors are being used to monitor the physical condition and performance of equipment in almost every industry. That can be refineries, oil platforms, telecommunication network infrastructure, rail systems, and even vending machines. These sensors are producing enormous quantities of data that can be analyzed to enhance risk management or maintenance processes for virtually any type of industrial equipment. Now, continuous monitoring of machine and sensor data helps equipment manufacturers and service providers predict and address maintenance issues by predicting failures before they occur. These predictions unlock new value for manufacturers and customers in the form of service cost reductions, new revenue opportunities, SLA adherence, operational efficiencies, reduced downtime, and more things as well. Now, there are enormous opportunities in this market, which PMG has already begun to take advantage of, and we want you to help us take advantage of more. Okay, before we launch into some of the finer details, I'd like to introduce our management team. My name is Dan Pearson, and I'm the CEO of PMG. My background is in chemical engineering, but I have been developing my project management and leadership skills at an environmental services company located in the greater Chicago area. Our COO is Daniel McDonald. He is overseas today, so he could not join us. Daniel has over a decade of experience in managing HR operations for IBM. From this experience, Daniel brings a wealth of knowledge related to back office digitization, program management, global operations, and service delivery. And this is Andreas Markvaldis. Andreas is our CIO and has over 20 years of IT and data management experience on a variety of different platforms. At this time, I'm actually going to turn things over to Andreas so he can talk for a few minutes about what PMG does and the value that we deliver to our customers.
So, as an organization, we are specifically geared to help small to medium sized manufacturing companies extract value from their data. And we're able to do that in a variety of different ways. We first provide a proprietary wireless sensor to actually start taking measurements of the equipment in your organization. On top of that, we're able to then build out a communications platform to actually aggregate all that data into a single stream. And then lastly, we're able to park it into a platform that we could then start not only doing predictive modeling on incoming real time data, but actually store and analyze historical data in a timely fashion to extract insight into what's kind of going on into your organization. Uh, as I mentioned earlier, the sensors are proprietarily built for our organization, but the communications and the database platform we license from existing manufacturers. But we can also, since it's bespoke, we can also use an existing architecture if it could actually scale to meet your needs. So, in a nutshell, in terms of four swim lanes that of what we do, we provide equipment for you. We can modernize your existing data architecture or build one out from scratch. But the real value of our offering is really around prevention and risk management of your machinery. And then the bottom line is really profitability. We really want to help boost the profit margins of your organization with the existing hardware that you have. So on this next slide, I'm not going to go into every single detail. As you can see on the far right-hand side, there's a number of algorithms and data preparation and evaluation functions that we can provide to your organization. But the real value is actually on the far left-hand side, and I would say in decreasing order is increasing importance. So, obviously, we provide a lot of the machine learning and AI functionality that one would expect from a analytic platform. But I would say the key value here is that you could actually deploy our solution anywhere. Because we have our own proprietary sensors, we have a very robust architecture for collecting and integrating that into a single stream. And because it operates on a wireless transmitter, you really can deploy this anywhere. And you could really scale this out. And in the next slide, we're going to kind of demonstrate some of the capabilities of our existing platform. So, as I mentioned in the previous slide, I'm a firm believer in demonstrating our capabilities rather than walking through a slide deck. So, I'm firing up a solution that we've created to really highlight and demonstrate our organization's capabilities. And what you're seeing here is actually a predictive maintenance dashboard that we built to really kind of heat map and do some actually do some artificial intelligence on electrical towers that are spread throughout the United States. And what we're doing here is we are we're simulating the readings, so we're not going to get into any of the communications or database architectures and things like that. But the key thing here to realize is that within 1 minute we've actually already ingested about 4 million different readings into actually a very small instance. And in fact, it's just running on a single machine up in the Amazon cloud. But what we're trying to demonstrate here is that taking in various sensor readings such as temperature, power factor, airflow, pressure, and vibration, we could actually build a predictive model that can help your organization really kind of target kind of not only customer satisfaction but preventative maintenance on your equipment. So as you can see here, we actually started this from scratch, and we're kind of building a model. And in a few minutes, what we'll see is these actually start updating, and it just did right now. So let's kind of see what kind of the first stab is. So as we can see here, actually, it's actually in some ways pertinent. Vibration is actually probably the biggest contributor to the kind of at-risk factor in terms of tower maintenance or tower health. And what we're doing actually here is just quickly running a logistic regression model. And in this particular case, I think it was over about 6 million different readings. And as you can see, this is actually pretty much near real time. And the value that I hope this dashboard demonstrates is that you really don't want to have any towers down. Obviously, this is a simulation, but what you would like to see is actually this number near zero. And these at-risk towers, what you can do is when towers do become at risk, you can automatically dispatch crews to actually fix or perform some type of maintenance on there. And the reason why this is important, and actually in a couple different areas. One, when these towers go out, it obviously affects your customers and the perception and of your customer of your service can be negatively impacted. Likewise, if you're not actually transmitting power to a customer, you're actually losing revenue. So if you can, keep the towers down at zero, and when towers are starting to get into a shaky status, you can actually correct them before they actually go out. Not only does that increase your revenue, but it also increases your overall customer satisfaction. And one last thing to point out, actually, like I said, we've almost collected 11 million readings in just a little under 3 minutes. And you could see here actually that the model, we are actually constantly evaluating and evolving this model. So the more data you actually collect, probably the more accurate model that you can generate. Likewise, you could actually collect more and more different parameters that you could actually help and build a much better modeling solution. So, in terms of a business model, we have a couple different angles that we can approach our potential customers. First there's the small manufacturer that really hasn't invested anything into the analytics or data collection stack. From that perspective, we offer an entire end-to-end product suite and solution that they can leverage or begin leveraging almost right away. Secondly, since we're kind of a built from scratch bespoke system and we've licensed various components, we actually have very minimal investment in the underlying technologies that we use. And that provides a couple distinct key advantages. One, it keeps our costs low from a development perspective. But secondly, it actually enables us then to kind of plug into different architectures that are out there. And on this slide, there's a whole variety of data transformation tools to messaging streams to ETL as well as cloud, on premise, uh, a whole litany of different product stacks. Very few organizations have right out of the gate the capability of actually integrating all these pieces, and that's a key value differentiator for us is that we do. And we also specifically target the smaller manufacturing sectors where most of the larger organizations like Microsoft and IBM really target the enterprise grade system. So the value that we can, or the income generation that can be extracted is really twofold. One from services that we can provide, and then secondly, if there isn't an existing platform or solution in place, we can provide the necessary hardware and infrastructure to collect it.
Thank you, Andreas. That was a great rundown of what PMG does. Now, ultimately, this is what we are targeting. We are expecting a 250% increase in the sensor analytics market over the next 4 years. That is an enormous jump. Obviously, we are not the only ones that realize this, and there are a lot of big players in this market. However, these prominent players rarely sell directly to small firms, and PMG will be taking direct advantage of this gap. These firms generally rely on partner organizations that are tied to specific vendors or platforms. Now, small firms make up a large segment of the U.S. manufacturing capacity. In fact, the vast majority of manufacturing firms in the United States are quite small. According to the U.S. Statistics Bureau, in 2015, there were over 250,000 firms in the manufacturing sector, and all but around 4,000 of these firms were considered small. In fact, three-quarters of the firms had fewer than 20 employees. These small firms do not have the resources to go to the big players or to bring their IoT initiatives in-house. Manufacturing firms know that if they invest in the quote unquote best technology, they can gain a competitive advantage. But the capital requirements for implementation are often quite burdensome. PMG combines the knowledge and expertise, technology, and financial modeling to allow for businesses to implement our solutions at a minimal cost. Service payment plans are tied to measurable cost savings, so PMG becomes actually a vested partner in our client's business. We are only making money if our customers save money. Now, considering the huge market for IoT sensors in the manufacturing sphere, these are PMG's financial projections for the next few years. Based on our current clientele and investments we will be making, we are expecting substantial growth in revenue and profit, as well as cash flows. Now, there will be dips in cash flow this year as we continue to make investments in human resources and a variety of services. In closing, I want to talk about where PMG is right now. We currently have some clients, a laundry supplier in Minnesota, custom sheet metal shop in Chicago, gasket manufacturer in Indiana. There's a rubber manufacturer in Iowa, and a printing shop for a major newspaper, actually, among some others that we're talking to. Now, our clients are generating good revenue for us, but in order to really take advantage of the enormous growth that is happening at this very moment, we are looking for investors to help us capitalize on that growth. Right now, only I am full time for PMG, and Daniel and Andreas are still maintaining their other jobs, and we are outsourcing some of the labor to keep overhead down, like, accounting, things like that. We are approaching the next 2 years with a 50-50 burn rate in mind. 50% of our time will be spent on our existing customers, and the other 50% burn will be going back into integration and a more optimized workflow. Now, the goal is for all three of us to be full time employees by the end of the year. We are also looking to invest in some marketing campaigns using some inbound techniques and platforms, as well as some sponsored social media campaigns. We are expecting to maintain this type of trajectory until at least 2020. By then, we'll have a better idea of whether or not we have to pivot to continue the growth process. Well, that's all we have prepared. Again, thanks for taking the time to listen, and we're happy to take any questions at this time.